model. We're going to calculate those statistics and percentages. So first thing we're going to do is talk about a few vocabulary words. The first one is going to be the mean. Well, mean just means average, right? Average. And we look at X with a line over it. And what is that? We know that. We're very familiar with that term, and it just is how many numbers, the average. So let's write the word average. How do we get that? Well, we add all the numbers, and divide by how many there are. Add all the numbers and divide by how many numbers there are. Okay, so that's just review. And the median. This is another type of average, and the median is when the numbers are in order, when the numbers, that's not a hashtag, are in order, the median is in the middle. Okay, now if there are two numbers in the middle, so we have an even number of numbers, then we just take those two numbers, add them together and divide by 2. Okay, so the median is the number in the middle. Now the mode is the number occurring most often. Okay, so let's just underline the word most. Mode, most. Okay, now we can have excuse me, a bimodal, meaning sometimes if 8 occurs twice and 10 occurs twice, then we can have 8 and 10 are bimodal. Okay, so we can have something that is bimodal. So those are those vocabulary words. All right, what about range? What does range mean? Range means the range of the numbers is the highest to the lowest. So it gives us the range of the numbers. Remember socks, the spread? We can also use the word spread. That's how we used it when we were talking about socks recently. Okay, now standard deviation. Now we're getting into the meat of our topic. What is the standard deviation? Just for reference, let's write over here towards the left, 11-7, chapter 11-7. So if you'd like to do some more research, you can go to chapter 11-7. Standard deviation is, we're talking about data, how widely spread. How widely spread or is the data? Is the data, or how much, you can say it this way, how much the data varies. That is what standard deviation is all about. Okay, we're going to find the standard deviation on our calculator. So these are our vocabulary words. Now we're going to actually find it, use it, do it. Okay, so we have some data down here. Now everybody, we're going to take our calculators and find it. So we have some data. We're going to take these values, we're going to put it in our calculator. So take your calculator out, we're going to follow these directions. Okay, so we're going to enter the data into the calculator. So hit the stat button. Now I've already entered the data, so you can stop the video and do that. We're going to hit stat, hit edit. Let's see if I got this clear so you can see it, into L1. All right, now once you've done that, you're going to want to hit the stat button again, move over to calculate, and then we're going to want to hit the var stat button. Okay, so so assuming you've entered your data, okay, so stop the video and do that. So you're back with me. Now we've got to find all of these things that we just researched, that we just did the vocabulary for. What is the mean? So at the very top, you see the X bar. So our mean, okay, the average is 6.7. 6.7, okay? The median, let's find the median. So we're going to scroll down, okay, using our scroll bar. Stat enter, what happened there? We're going to scroll down and find the median. Now the median is MED, 7.5. That's what we're looking for. So the middle data point is 7.5. Now the mode you cannot look at in your list of information here. You have to observe it by just looking at your list of data. So let's look at this. Well, I have 3 8s, 1, 2, 3. So 8 is a mode. Okay, but I also have 3 9s, 1, 2, 3. So in our case, 8 and 9 are what we call bimodal. And there's nothing else that occurs more than 3 times. Okay, now standard deviation. SD stands for standard deviation, and let's look at our calculator. So let's get it into the light. So scrolling up, okay. Standard deviation, you see this right here, this sigma x. There is our standard deviation. So this little, I'm going to put sigma x. This stands for standard deviation, and our standard deviation is 2.7. Okay, and this, I'm going to write the word sigma just so we remember. So that's this signal right there, sigma. And that's how widely the data varies from the average. Okay, and that's our standard deviation. Now let's talk about the range of the data. The range of the data is the largest to the smallest. So we see that the smallest data value is 2, the largest is 12. So our range is 12 minus 2 equals 10. So let's just box that in and say that our range of data is 10. Okay, so there we go. We've got all the measures. We call this the measures of center and spread for this data set. All right, so let's keep talking about statistics and the normal model. Let's talk about, excuse me, move down, types of distribution. Data can be distributed in different ways. We have a symmetric distribution, and this is what we call the symmetric distribution, where the mean equals the median. Right there. This in the middle is called right skewed distribution. Now, when it's right skewed, we can tell that it's called right skewed because it follows, the tail is to the right. All of the data is to the left, but the tail is to the right. Now, this is a left skewed distribution, and we always tell right skew and left skew by following the tail. Okay, so you could either, I like to decide to tell skew by looking for the tail. And another way to look at it, however it's easier to remember, is that follow the tail or opposite of where the data leans. So whichever is easier for you to remember, go ahead. I like where's the tail. Wherever the tail is, that's the skew. So the tail here is right, so it's right skewed. Okay? All right, let's go down here. When data is symmetric, for our first example, or centered around the middle value with no skew left or right, we call it a normal distribution. Or sometimes it's also called a bell curve. Now, for the remainder of this unit, we are going to be focusing on normal distributions. Okay, now some examples of normal distributions are things that we often talk about, like height, weight, SAT scores, IQ, SAT scores, IQ, batting averages, body temperature. Okay, many more examples. Body temperature. Okay, so know that. Let's put a star by this example. That is what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the unit, is normal distributions. Okay? All right. There we go.